Hey there guys, Mac Junkie. Today we're doing the 2023 Balisong Collection video. All these guys right here. All these guys. And the Vault. I'm not forgetting about the Vault. It's just it doesn't fit because I have too many knives and I have a problem and I have an addiction. But we're not worrying about that. I'm going to be going over every single one of these. Obviously the names of them. I'll go over like the price. Yeah, I think I remember the prices for all these. Most of them anyway. And I'm just going to go over all of them. This isn't like a tier list or anything. I'm not going to list off like which ones are my favorites. It's honestly, it's kind of hard to pick which ones I like more than the others, like in a perfect tier list. So I'm just going to go down the list here, all the Balisongs I have. All right, starting with the Maxace PN. So I paid $280 for this on Knife Center. It is a beautiful S35 VN blade. This is definitely one of the more elegant looking knives. I don't love the way it flips, but it has grown on me. I used to really not like how it flipped, and now I'm kind of, I guess, it's grown on me. Really, really beautifully designed, though. It looks awesome. So that's that, Maxace PN. Moving on to the next Maxace knife, we have the Banshee, which I didn't buy, but I traded a Sfixco Terra. I traded my Terra for this. Pretty good trade considering this is a live blade, although if I'm being totally honest, I think the Terra flips better. I just have a preference towards live blades. Obviously nothing wrong with trainers. I have plenty of trainers over there, but I couldn't, you know, pass up on that trade. I don't flip this one too much. It is deadly sharp. I got a really bad cut. It's pretty much gone now because it happened like almost half a year ago, but like the knife like slid like here and it went just down, and like my whole pointer finger went numb, like with pain for like a couple days. It was awful. But yeah, so I'm kind of scared of this thing now. But yeah, Maxace Banshee. Moving on from that, we have the Talisong Z, which is a very unique knife, especially with the way the handles are shaped and all that. This thing about $280 to $300, $300, you know, around there with shipping. Don't remember exactly the materials. I know it's 70, 75. Don't remember the exact blade material, but this one, I really like the way ball bearing knives flip. I would love to try if there was somehow a way a ball bearing Kraken. That would be like really cool because I love the momentum and speed of ball bearing knives. Although I don't particularly like the way this one feels in some tricks. Overall, this is a great knife. In fact, no other knife fans better than this one, at least in my collection. This knife fans better than pretty much any other knife because of those rounded handles. It's great. Moving on from that, we have the Kershaw Lucha with the Flytanium aluminum handles. I got them in purple. This thing is a monster. It is massive. This thing is ginormous. It is a massive knife. This, after all the mods and everything, looking at around like $280. If like the base Lucha is like 120 and then the handles are like 100, so maybe like around 240, 250, something like that for this guy. Ooh, that was almost a cut. And on from there, the black Bowie Kraken V2.5. Beautiful. All black. Really afraid to take this thing outside because the second I drop it on concrete, it's going to have very obvious marks all over it. So I'm kind of babying it. Still sounds really good. Oh, let me see if I can get it. There we go. Beautiful. Around $300 after shipping. With the silver Tonto Kraken, this one is around like the 260-ish mark. I did put titanium hardware in it, as can be seen here in those gold screws. I hope that's showing up on camera. Those gold titanium pivots, and then of course the washers. That's like whatever it is on Squid's website, like $10, $15, whatever it is. It's around $265 for this guy. Moving on from that, we'll skip the Chab real quick, and I'll hop over to the third and final Kraken. This one has quite the story behind it. So originally, I got this blade. Originally belonged to a blue Kraken, a blue-handled inked Tonto. I really wanted purple, and when Squid Industries released their purple Kraken trainers, I lost my mind because I really wanted a purple inked Kraken. That's like my dream Kraken. Unfortunately, the purple drop was more like a magenta, like it looked a lot more pink or red even than purple. So I actually ended up getting a green trainer and switching the handles for this green and then getting green screws. That's the story behind this thing. So the handles are in way more pristine condition than the blade. The blade has a fair bit of, it's got a couple little marks, but for being almost 2 years old, like a year and a half old, not bad. Really not bad. Still flips really good. Still sounds really good. Although it is noticeably like a little bit worse than my black and silver Krakens because I've babied these more. This one, and it could be because I'm using trainer handles. There's a bunch of factors. Anyway, I will shut up now and move on to the next knife. This thing also around the same, about 300 bucks with all the mods and stuff. That adds up. On from there, don't skip the Chab. I almost skipped the Chab and went straight to the Squiddy. So we have the Chab. This one also has quite a story. I love the way this thing sounds, by the way. Whew, all right. So this thing I bought from Netrunner Rose in the community. Hopefully I'll just do this a bit. Hopefully it shows up. He engraved roses onto the blade. They look so sick. This thing has had quite a few owners. It also has these handles that were anodized by Solaire, very well known in the modding community for anodization work. Beautiful. I got these extra pivots, or extra screws, just so that way they would match a bit better. Unfortunately, no pivots. The pivots are still gray, but I got these screws to match. And this thing is definitely a one-of-a-kind Chab. Super cool. And the more I flip it, because this is a very heavy knife, the more I flip it, the more I like how unique it is and the way it sounds. I love the metallic sound. Sounds really good. I really like it. That's the Chab. This thing, paid 500 bucks for it. This is my most expensive knife at the moment. Moving on from that guy, we have the Squiddy B. We're on the opposite side now in terms of price, but the Squiddy B with the zippy end caps is actually a surprisingly good performer and something that I can just not care about when I'm flipping it. I don't have to worry about dropping it. I don't have to care about damaging a really expensive, nice knife. I don't have to worry about freaking people out because I'm throwing a knife around. It's just a piece of plastic. The Squiddy B is like 40 bucks or something like that on Squid Industry site. 50 bucks, something like that. And then the zippy end caps, I got the ones with the tungsten weights. Other than that, they're around like, 10 bucks. For a 2-pack, I believe it's around the $6 to $8 range. So overall, pretty cheap to get this guy going. These are the glow-in-the-dark caps as well, but I won't go through, turning off the lights and all that. They glow in the dark. You get what that does. Moving on from that, BB Firefly V2. It's got the jimping and the handle cutouts. This thing is about 200 bucks, maybe a little bit more, especially because I customize each color of each handle. So I remember this thing is either exactly 200 bucks or I paid a little bit more than 200 bucks. That's the price I paid for it, at least. I think the prices of these are actually going down, but the price I paid is around or a little over 200 bucks. Great trainer. I really like the way it sounds. That sounds so nutty. If I can get it to do it, this thing is so fat. That's really good. Moving on, Mako V4.5. This is one of my only knives that I've dropped in the video, and that has tap. That's just the nature of washer knives. I can tune the tap out of it. It's just that it comes back very soon, and I don't really feel like Loctiting it. I'm just a little bit lazy. But even with that tap doesn't really matter too much when it comes to flipping, and this thing flips so well. I love how well this thing flips for being so darn cheap. And of course, it has that really unique shark design. Super good. I really like the Mako. This is a great step up from a Squiddy or any beginner. This should be like their first real metal trainer. It's just pretty much always in stock, lots of color options, super cheap for what it is, and man, it's fun. I really like the Mako, especially in pink. I like pink. And speaking about cheap knives that perform incredibly, we have the Glider Arctic. This thing has been dropped on concrete more than any of my other knives, and it still has absolutely zero movement and like no play. This thing is the tank of all tanks. I love this thing. When it comes to flipping, as I've gotten more knives and just developed my flipping style and gotten a bit better. It's not my favorite. It used to be really close to my favorite, pretty high up there. Now it's more in the middle, but it's still definitely a competent flipper, and it sounds so nutty. This thing sounds great. And for being like 116 bucks, 120 bucks, I mean, you really can't beat it. This thing is ridiculously good price to performance. It's just that it's unfortunately like never in stock. So that is unfortunate. But Glider Arctic, around like 120 bucks. Also the Mako, 100 bucks. Don't know if I said that. Moving on, we got the most beautiful purple I've ever seen on a Balisong. Unfortunately, I don't like the way this one flips too much. This is the NRB Vortex. I shouldn't say I don't like how it flips. I don't like the grip. This thing is so slippery. Even though it's got all these cutouts, it is so just like slippery. This thing flies out of your hands. If I take this thing over concrete, it will get dropped and it will get messed up. So I don't take this one out. I really wish that I had this exact kind of purple, like on a Kraken. Like, oh my gosh, could you imagine? Could you imagine? I'm dreaming. Okay. That thing, I got it from Balisong Flipping on his website. So I think I paid around like 170, 180, 160, somewhere around there. Not more than 200, less than 200, but definitely more than 150, somewhere in that range. Now we have the Talisong Trainer. And I went over the Talisong Live Blade, and the Trainer and the Live Blade are pretty close to the same price, but this is another one where I did a trade for it. If you're watching this and you know what a MaxAce Obsidian is, not the Obsidian S, the straight up Obsidian with the carbon fiber inserts, it's like a $400 knife. I bought that thing like a year ago, around like February a year ago, so almost exactly a year ago. Oop. And I traded it for this. And that might sound stupid, but I have reasons. I don't like to have knives that just look pretty that I don't use. And the Obsidian was a great example of that. Beautiful knife, like so incredibly unique. But I didn't like how it flipped that much. I didn't like how fragile it seemed. I didn't like the way it felt. And so I traded it for this, and I really like how this Talisong flips. And this thing is the polar opposite of fragile. This thing is an absolute tank, kind of like the Glider. Dropped this thing a million times. No tap, no play. This thing is just an absolute tank, and I do not regret my trade. Although this thing admittedly is worth like 3/4 as much as the Obsidian, but it is what it is. Moving on, we have a I just made the video about the Wave and the Vault. There have been some developments, and I'll show you one of those. I think it's this one. Yep. As you can see, the Zen pin is no longer staying in the handle here. So unfortunately, that is a quality control issue with the Wave by Artsy. This is a $75 trainer. I really, really liked how this thing flipped. It flipped so good. I'm afraid that, yep, the Zen. Oh, there it goes. Oh, where'd it go? Okay, there it is. Oh, thank God. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, not in flippable condition right now. I didn't do anything crazy to this thing. I didn't drop it on concrete. I didn't do any of that. As you can see, this thing is in like perfect condition. There are no marks. It just, the Zen pin just came out. So unfortunately, I don't know. That's just a real shame. Moving on though, we do have the Vault by Will Hirsch. And this thing is quite the opposite of the Wave in terms of durability, because they're both made by the same company. This thing's $65, $75 for the Wave. This one has no issues with those end pins, and I have dropped this thing quite a bit on concrete. It's got chunks taken out of the corners. It's got a bit more damage to the face. I really hope all this is showing up on camera when I move the knife closer. That'd suck. The blade has a couple little nicks on it, and this thing still has no tap. You can hear it moving a bit. That just needs oil. I'm going to oil it real quick, because it can sound better than that. Oh, okay. Oh, the siphon effect is still happening. Okay, this is too much oil. All right, well, whatever. We'll roll with it. That was a lot of oil. Okay, let's work that in. There we go. A lot quieter now. I just haven't oiled this one in a while. Sounds great. Now, we have the final knife, and I did not save the best for last. This is the worst for last. This thing gets its own wall of shame and everything. This is a Barren Suns something. I don't know what this knife is. All I know is that it's really bad. And I mean, just look at this. The latch is on the safe handle for some reason. The only good thing about this knife, I would say, is that it has a Damascus blade. That's about it, because everything else about this knife is just no. It's just, I can still flip it, kind of, but I mean, listen to that. My God, what an abomination. Barren Suns, Bear Ops, they're both the same thing. They make not good balisongs. I'm sure their normal pocket knives are fine. Haven't used any of those, but their balisongs are an absolute no. This thing was like 180 bucks. This is one of the first legit, one of the first balisongs I actually spent money on, other than like trainers, like cheap trainers, like Amazon trainers that I don't even have anymore. This was like the first knife I bought, and the second I got a Squid Trainer 3.5, don't have it anymore, but I got a red Squid Trainer 3.5, which was about the same price as this, but flipped so much better, had great tolerances. This thing just went to the dumps. I barely touch it. And I could sell it, but I don't want to sell it because this thing is just a sin to sell. This would just be, it would be a ripoff, even if I gave it away to someone for free. Anyway, rant over. This thing sucks. It just lives on this wall. And it stays there all by itself in timeout. Going over the other little things I have in my bag, I got a little sheath. I've had this for over a year. This is just what I have my balisongs in when I have them on my belt. I carry them outside, and this thing fits almost all my knives except for the PN, because the PN is a very skinny, small knife. So this one, I mean, you could get away with that, but that is not even close to secure enough for me to think about carrying this almost $300 knife outside. I have a Weehaw T10, a Weehaw T8, some microfiber claws, and then I have a little lens case, which I have some screws in and some like Squid Industries, like some Kraken hardware. I've got some Kraken hardware there, and I have some T10 screws that I used for the Chab here, those beautiful bronze gold colored screws. I could only buy them in like a 10-pack, so hey, I got 10 Chab screws now, so that's cool. Other than that, got a little, some Band-Aids, or gauze. Okay, I don't know why I have that in there, but some Band-Aids and stuff, and that is pretty much it. I do have stickers on my case, but yeah, other than that, that is pretty much it. What does that seam? What is that? Never noticed that before. I don't know if that's a crack or if it's just something I literally never noticed ever. But yeah, that's my whole collection. So thank you guys for watching, and I will definitely update this list as the year goes on if I get another knife, or in 2024. Hopefully I make videos before 2024, though. I'll try and make a couple videos and stuff. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys.